Hi, this is Whiplasher from DEATHSTARS, and you're listening to Metal Wani.
Greetings from India, Mr. Whiplasher. A Perfect Cult, one of my favorite albums of the year. So how does it feel to deliver an album, which has crossed even the expectations set by your previous album, Night Electric Night?
Yeah, I think with what we felt with Night Electric Night was that it was a bit stressed in the end, So we didn't want the same mistake with the Perfect Cult. So we've been very, very, really selective when it comes to material, and and working very hard in the production, so we feel very good about the material of the album. So for me, it feels like the best album by far, definitely.
Absolutely. Now, since the lineup change sometimes lead to the change in the sound as well, but the Perfect Cult seems to continue where you left with the Night Electric Night. So it's really great to see a band with having a 5-year-long gap between two albums, but still managing to crack the nut.
Yeah, but I think it's since me and Emil Nightmare, who writes all the material, we've been writing songs together for 20 years now. We've been releasing albums for 20 years, so
True.
For us we just continue working like we always have, and with DEATHSTARS it has a kind of it has such a kind of vibe and atmosphere in the music, so it's important for us not to change that, because the thing that really matters when we write songs is just to find the right moods for every song and the right vibe. So it should always be like you hear when it's DEATHSTARS, when you hear a song. So
absolutely, that's true. Now while listening to Night Electric Night, it kind of felt unfinished. I felt it was a bit forced to some extent. And since you as a musician definitely prefer to have a strong connection to the music, and now with Perfect Cult, I think you guys have achieved what you basically had aimed for.
Yeah, I think that this album is more like a continuation of, or at least more similarities with Termination Bliss and Night Electric Night, actually.
True.
Somehow. We're very pleased with it, and I think that this album also is. I think that Night Electric Night was a bit more outgoing. It was more simple, kind of. This is more introverted. It's darker, and it's bigger, and it's more luxurious, and it's more personal. This album, so maybe it's a bit more hard to get, but it's still it's a much richer.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Now, talking about the inspiration and the idea behind the Perfect Cult, I could feel that there's a theme of desperation to basically find meaning in things, and probably as a listener, while listening to the album, it feels like the theme ends up believing in nothing. Is that right?
Yes. It's about worshipping. It's a kind of it's something myself. I think of this album. It's about believing in nothing. So it's kind of it's not believing in it. It's kind of a sort of nihilism where you tend to stretch as far as you can morally to see how far you can go emotionally without feeling anything. So it's about really trying not to feel stuff and walking around life with that kind of attitude really adds up to you feeling not well at all. So it's a kind of reflection of that whole kind of lifestyle. So it's something that I've seen myself living the last few years. It's something that I really don't. It's kind of trying to understand what I've been doing.
True.
You know, and it's not a positive thing. So
that's amazing. Now,
it's of course a lot of different topics.
True. That's right. Now, you have a very marked style, making you what you are today. What would you say are your influences and inspiration, lyrically as well as musically?
Well, the lyrics are all about my life and the lives that we're living. I guess us in the band, we tend to have kind of similar lives since we're like the best of friends and hanging out. But it's always the dark aspect on different topics, and it's about really putting everything to the extreme when it comes to to find the dynamics in the song. So what we're dealing about is mainly like, I would say, the lives that we live are we tend to look for kicks, all the time. We want to feel something. So in the end, because I'm looking for kicks, whatever we do, we do it pretty extreme. So
absolutely,
that becomes very self-destructive.
True.
And a lot of songs are about that. And the music has always been, it's not a metal band like that.
Right.
It's inspired by everything we grew up with and find appealing. So it's
true.
On this album even more, it's influenced by other stuff than it maybe was when we started the band.
That's great.
But right now, I don't think we look at any other bands at all, because DEATHSTARS is just has a formula of its own and a vibe of its own. So
absolutely,
it's much more relaxed band when it comes to that nowadays. So we just do what we feel like doing and write songs about ourselves, and that's it.
That's really wonderful. Now, while listening to the album, I felt that the first half has that that hint of underlying darkness, and then when the second half comes, it's nothing short of a decadence of dark immortality. So that's a perfect combination of an album. It's very rare these days when we come with that sort of an album where the way songs are flowing is absolutely stunning.
That's good. Good to hear. Yeah.
So how was the writing this time? I mean, what was the approach and what sort of mindset were you guys in the studio?
Well, the thing is, some of the songs are several years old, but most of them we wrote within the last year, so to speak.
Awesome.
I think it's when we have made the fundamental stuff in the studio, like the guitars and the drums and so on, we put a lot of effort, as I told you, in just finding the vibe. So when it comes to recording the vocals and all the synthesizers and finding the right sounds, that's something we do a lot in the studio. So at this time when we recorded the album, me and Nightmare, we were in terrible shape because of different things. So maybe it's we really were one with the music when we wrote it. So
awesome.
That's just the music on this album was really a state of mind.
Wonderful.
So it was a dark period. So maybe that reflects in the music. I don't know.
I understand that. That's really great. Now, if I would have to ask you that, like in this album, which song basically defines DEATHSTARS, as a band right now, both, sonically as well as from the artist perspective?
I think we discussed this. We had this release party this weekend, and we were just talking because we haven't met since the album was out. Because I moved to Italy and my friend lives in New York and so on. But then everyone has so different ideas of what song is the favorite one.
Right.
I can't really say that there's one that everyone agrees on being like the soundtrack of DEATHSTARS right now, but it changes all the time also. But
Absolutely.
I think that the songs here it's a more varied mix, and it makes the album much more interesting than the other.
True.
I think that this album, maybe together with let's see. I think it shows some new faces of the band, kind of with Ghost Reviver and Noise Cuts, even though it's so much DEATHSTARS.
Right.
You can get there's a different kind of a new makeup on the band.
Right, a new vibe.
It's hard for me to say because I can't see the forest for the trees, but it's DEATHSTARS, but still some new stuff.
Wonderful. That's awesome. Now you have made a name in heavy metal and basically in the music industry. How do you feel about it? I mean, is there something you still feel that you haven't explored or you haven't achieved?
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff I hope. Even though we have done quite much now, we're going on. I mean, we're going on this huge world tour now, and it always, you never know what to expect. So, and from what I've been touring for so long, ever since I was a kid, it always something turns up that you never expected. So, and DEATHSTARS is a band that's kind of in between genres. It happens so much weird stuff because people from different kind of parts of society are really into the band. So
Absolutely.
We can end up maybe playing with with Justin Timberlake on next tour. I don't know.
Right.
But it's necessarily not just within the metal scene. It's so much else going on, so which makes it interesting for us.
That's absolutely true. Now, like you mentioned, that there is a different kind of it's a mixture of genres. You guys play at different fans from each, so it might get difficult for you. The way people think about the Perfect Cult, keeping this diverse spectrum in mind.
Yeah, but for us it's always been, we always write the songs ourselves, produce the songs ourselves, and then we let no one else listen to the music until it's completely done.
Awesome.
So the record label haven't heard anything until the album is done. So that's just the way for us to work. So we're never thinking about how it might get the approach from the listeners.
Right.
But it's all about us. So that has worked for us. So we stay loyal to that kind of pattern of working. So, but yeah, of course, it's people don't know how to label DEATHSTARS.
True.
But as long as people know how we sound, it doesn't matter.
Absolutely. Now that's for sure. I mean, I'm a big fan of your vocals. The way your singing approach is. So how do you look after it? I mean, how do you prepare for the shows? Like, you have a world tour coming up. So how do you manage to keep your voice in such a brilliant shape?
I don't do anything.
Really?
So I drink some vodka every once in a while.
So that seems to be a medicine for you.
Yeah, so it's really nothing. Maybe I should take care about it more, but I really don't. So I just do it, kind of.
I understand that. Now I once read that you said DEATHSTARS is a wake-up call to the common man. So if I have to ask you, what who is the common man and what do they need to wake up from?
I think that maybe it was like an old quote or something, because it was a period when I was so frustrated about other stuff. Now the songs are much more about our lives and a frustration,
right,
which comes from that part of life. Hey, there was, when we started I think it was more of a, we came from the black metal underground.
Absolutely.
From other bands. So
True.
I think I still had some of that hate towards society, much more punk oriented.
Right.
So I think maybe that that's where the quote comes from. But no, I think DEATHSTARS at that point maybe was just to fuck with people's minds, you know, with all respect, just to fuck with people.
Absolutely. That's really cool. Now you guys are going on a tour, so that brings me to the question: are you aware how deep and how awesome your fan base is here in India?
We would love to come to India as soon as possible, especially now when we have this world tour coming up. I heard last week actually from our management in California that they're looking at some extended kind of, or looking into Southern Asian, like really a bigger tour, you know, so that might,
that's awesome.
Hopefully involve India.
Wow.
But that's something that they're looking into now. So it's good to hear. Maybe I'll send them an email and get them to look into it.
Wow.
Much more.
That'll really be an honor.
Thank you for. Yeah, but it would be an honor for us, of course.
Absolutely.
That would be fantastic.
Absolutely. So let me end the interview on a very simple question for you. If I would have to ask Whiplasher to define the perfect cult in just one sentence.
The perfect females.
That's wonderful. Now I was expecting you to hit the nail and you definitely did it.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the interview.